Hi guys, in this video we are going to look at 7 different textures that you can do with a ballpoint nib. Now this is going to go kind of quick, so here we go. Number 1, you can do stippling. So I have my wood burner already plugged in, and right now the temperature is at an 8.5 out of 10, so it's pretty high. Stippling is really straightforward. You're just making dots. I like to make my dots touch and kind of overlap, whereas some people like to leave some space between their dots. But I really love this, and when you're filling in an area, here's another example over here. When you're filling in an area, it gives a really fun physical texture, and I just really like it. All right, number 2, you can make circles with your ballpoint nib. So for this, you touch down and you drag the nib around to make a big circle. And this is very indented. It goes pretty deep into the wood. Now, one thing to note about this kind of texture though, is that because it is so hot and so deep, it has a lot of overburn. And if you want to get rid of that, your options are to sand. So go ahead and sand the wood after you're done burning to try to get rid of some of it. Or you can use a damp washcloth and kind of wipe over the wood and try to like scrub it off that way. But a lot of the times that will raise the grain. So if you have a really nice sanded piece of wood and then you get it wet, it's gonna raise the grain, so it's gonna feel fuzzy again. If that happens, take your piece of sandpaper and just gently sand all over it again. And you know, that'll sand those raised grains off and it'll go back to being really smooth. All right, texture number 3, I call them rings. You can call them whatever. So basically I start with a dot, and I am going to make rings around the dot. And you can keep going to make them however big you want them to be. Right, and you can even kind of layer them or give them a layered look. Kind of make them look like they're overlapping each other. So I put this one here, and I'm gonna make it look like this one is underneath that one. Okay, so again, with the overburn and some of this like shiny, crusty stuff on the edge, you can get rid of that by sanding over it, or you can get a nice damp washcloth and just kind of rub over it and wash it off, let it dry, and then hit it with a little bit of sandpaper again, and that should take care of most of it for you. Another thing that I like to do, I did in this video, which I will have linked below. I talk about some of my favorite ways to add texture to some of my pieces. That link is in the description, but I'm gonna do this. This is called walking the dots, and it's where you start with a big dot and then you end with a light, smaller dot. But as I go and make each dot, I am touching down a little bit softer and a little bit faster. You see what I mean? So that's a fun thing to do. It adds movement, especially if you had like bugs flying, like if you had a little bee or a little dragonfly, like it kind of adds a little bit of movement with the swirls. So that's 4. I've used this squiggly technique before to get a little bit of like a scumbling texture. I'm turning my unit down to a 4.5. And I am basically just making small circles little loop-de-loops. And if you wanted to start building this up to create shading, you just turn the heat up and you start layering. So I'm turning my heat up to like just above a 5, so like maybe a 5.25. I'm going to blend it out a little bit into the 4. I'm going to turn it up to like a 5, almost a 6, 5.75. You can see that it's starting to create a little bit of a shadow, a little bit of a gradient. It's not a smooth shading technique, it has some texture to it. I'm gonna turn my unit up to like an 8. I'm gonna go back up to an 8. And this is basically commas, but I like to use them in the same kind of way that I use my dots when I'm walking my dots, because they add a little bit of like motion or movement. So I'm basically touching down to make a dot and then kind of like swooping away and wisping it away to create like a comma. I did this one time for cattails. I touch down on the wood, I drag it and keep it kind of straight, and that is the head for my cattail. So let me do a few of them. Again, I'm still at like an 8 temperature. It's very hot and very smoky. I have my fan running and I have my window open for some ventilation. Okay, so those are the heads of the cattails. I'm gonna take this off and swap over to my skew nib to do the stalks. Right, and if you want them taller, you can make them taller. Whatever, but that's a fun texture. And let's see, is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? So that's 7, but let me do another little bonus one down here. So basically I'm just going over the same circle over and over and over again. Ooh, you can make them look like frog eggs. You could put little put little dots in the center of them. Fun, creepy. So anyway, those are a few examples on how you can do different textures and different things with your ballpoint nib. Let me know if you have any questions about anything below in the comments. I hope this was helpful for you. Feel free to like and subscribe if you're feeling so inclined and you want more wood burning content in your life. Bye guys, thanks for watching.